Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm T with Teresa H Creates and I'm starting my next project. So this is a little golden book that I altered in December last year in 2024. And this is traditionally the way that I do my little golden books. I like to save the golden spine because is it a little golden book if you don't have the golden spine? No. So I like to save mine and then I create here on the spine a piece of chipboard and I stitch through it and then attach it on the inside here. So this is what I've done with all of my books. This is how I've made them. Now, I do keep seeing a different way to do this and to keep the actual little golden spine. And it is basically to have these edges here fold over into the center. And then these meet in the center and create the spine of the book. So I know that that probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that's what it is. And so I wanted to give it a try. And my daughter got this for me for my birthday because she knows I like to alter these. And so I thought, well, you know what? I have this one and this, and in this style, the style that I usually do them in. And so I thought, well, I'll try the different style with this book. I don't think it's actually going to be a good book though, because when I started looking at it closer, this is really, really loose. And so I need to do something else with this in order to make it a lot sturdier. So I am going to set that aside. I pulled out some different books that I had in my stash and I was going to select one of these. So I think that this is pretty worn also. And I think that this one right here is a little compromised. So it is either going to be Mickey's Christmas Carol or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And I think I'm going to go with, well, let's go with Rudolph because he does have the gold spine here. So let's go with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So this method, I have seen it actually done in person. There is a woman at my crop that I have seen several times, and she makes the little golden books, the altar little golden books, and she does them with the different method, the one that I want to show you. And so I looked online to see if I could get some instructions and discover Lillian Guerrero, who does this, who had created this style and has a video, a fantastic tutorial on how she does this method that I'm going to show you. I'm going to do mine a little bit different, but I do want you to go over to her channel and check out that same tutorial because the way she does it, I think would actually help this spine. So if I have a little bit of a compromised spine, I think the method that she uses would actually help preserve this a lot better. And I'll explain it as we get further into it. But so I'm inspired to do this by the tutorial I watch. It's called Step by Step, How I Make a Little Golden Book Junk Journal Cover by Lillian Guerrero. And I will link that video in my description box so that you can go over and you can check it out as well. So we're going to get started in the way that you always get started with these guys. And I'm just going to do the cover work in this video, so it shouldn't be, hopefully, super, super long. So let's kind of go to what we believe is probably about the center-ish of this book, okay? And we're going to take our bone folder, and this is always the tricky part, but we're going to try to find where the staples are. Here's one, and there's one. And we want to kind of start working our bone folder in and kind of twisting it, like putting it in there and giving it a little bit of a twist to see if we can loosen up those staples. And you can start filling them. You want to be gentle though, because you don't want to poke through the end of the book. You don't want to cause any damage. But if you put it in there, and I don't know if you can see here, so you kind of give it a little bit of a twist, working it kind of back and forth to loosen up those staples. And it'll eventually start to come loose. It's happening. I was so happy that I found her tutorial. I've watched her before because she does these cute little pockets that have little roofs on them. So they look like these little whimsical houses and they're so cute. And I haven't actually ever made any, but I think that they're adorable. And that's how I found her. You see what I did there? I did pierce it. So you need to be careful because I did end up piercing the end of that. but we're getting close to getting this open. There we go. So we've got one staple, and let's see if we can get to the other one. But she makes those little whimsical house pockets, and it's super, super cute. So if you're over on her channel, I would check that out as well. And this one is definitely being testy. There we go. Okay. So let's go ahead and remove the pages here. Perfect. And I'll set those aside because we'll create our signatures with that. Okay. Now, the difference here. Usually what happens is I will remove these staples, and I usually take, let me see. I have this little jewelry making kit, and I usually take some of these little pliers that I have here. So typically what I do is I straighten these out, and then I go through a process of kind of working them out. They are adhered underneath the foil, and occasionally it can damage the foil. It can pull up on the book some, but then we kind of press it down. But if you look here, like this one, it didn't, like there was a little bit of damage here, but I've got that glued down. And then if you look on the inside, it's all covered here. So it's fine. It doesn't really compromise it that much. You can get it back down there. However, I completely remove them when I do this method because that golden spine is right here. Even if I cut them down, I trim them down, I nail them down, you're still going to be able to feel them in there. And I've never been able to cut them close enough that you couldn't feel them through this. However, with her method, we can trim them, and we can trim them down as close as possible, and they'll be fine because we're going to put chipboard right over this. So it's not going to matter. We're never going to feel the actual staples, so we don't have to completely remove them. I'm just kind of putting my hand over it to protect them because sometimes they'll go flying off. And I noticed in the video, she said that she had magnetized little snips. And so I'm like, what? I need to look into that. So let me show you. I don't know if you can see it. See, you get as close as possible, but you can still feel them, and eventually they'll wear through on the other book. So let me go ahead and flatten these back out. See, scratch, scratch, scratch. You can still hear them. Okay. At this point, this is where I would cut right down the center of this and then fold these over on the ends so that you got coverage on the back side of this right here. And this is where it differs because we're going to keep it just like this. Okay, so what she did was she got a piece of chipboard that she cut down to 1/8 of an inch, and then she put it right between the center of this so that it helped to reinforce this space right here. Because if you leave this space empty, then it definitely will buckle on itself. So you do want to put something down in here. Okay, that is the right width. So I'm going to take my art glitter glue, put it right down this center. And like I said, mine is going to deviate from what she does just a little bit. I understand why she did what she did. It is a fantastic tutorial. I will probably actually copy that tutorial exactly when I do my other little golden book that has the little compromised spine there. Okay. But I wanted to do one my way first just to see if it would, the way I wanted to do it would work. Okay, so we're going to trim that. Let me get my bone folder in there, make sure it's in there nice and good. Okay, so now we've got something in there to help hold that spine steady. So then here, we're going to fold here, and we're going to fold here, and then there we go. This is what it looks like. Isn't that pretty? And I kept seeing these and I was like, how are they doing it? And I've seen one, like I said, I've seen one in person, but I didn't actually like go at it and try to deconstruct it. And I wonder if this isn't thick enough and I actually need to add another one of these. And I think that I do. I'm going to add a second one. I got a really thin piece of chipboard here, so I'm going to go ahead and add a second layer so that I don't have a dip there. So here we go. There we go. That feels better. That feels nice and flush. So we just had to build it up a little bit. So next time I know that I need a much thicker chipboard for this part. Perfect. So at this point, what she did was she took a piece of chipboard and glued it down to fit here to help reinforce this spine. Then she took some clear, it was Scotch bookbinding tape, but she also, or it's book tape, Scotch book tape. It's a clear tape. It looks like packing tape. And I believe she said before she did use packing tape to do it, but basically she tapes this part and then she flips it over and tapes this part. It's a 4-inch packing or book tape, so it's really wide and it covers a lot. I get why she does that. It helps to preserve the spine, the golden foil on here, and I completely understand it. But it's also shiny, and I don't want, the books are shiny, I know, but it's also shiny, and I just didn't want to do that with this one. So I think that that method, though, would be perfect for one like this, where it's compromised here, that if I put tape across it, then that would help to hold it together, the book tape. So I think that that method is perfect for those. So I need to go ahead and order that book tape that she has. And I think she had a link to her Amazon shop where she actually has that posted. So I'm going to have to go in there and I'm going to have to buy some of that tape. Okay, so, but she did put some chipboard here to help reinforce this spine. She also stitched through this so that it was stitched through the foil. So just like here, you can see the stitches on the back side. She stitched through these foils. I don't want to do that either. So I'm going to do the hidden spine. So this I got from, because I do a lot of these little golden books, I got this pre-cut. It was pre-cut from my mass making in December. So I've already got one cut. And so now I just need to cut it widthwise. I think lengthwise we're good, but I need to cut it widthwise to fit this. And I want to say she said it was about 1 1/8 of an inch, but I'm showing mine at 1 1/4. So let's start at 1 1/4 and we can always work our way in if we need to. We're going to go bigger and then we can work our way in. 1 1/4 might be a little too much. And these little golden books generally are always going to be 8 inches in height. So let's test that. And we are 8 inches in height. So, all right, so this is 1 1/4. So if I put this down here, and now I see why she said 1 1/8, because 1 1/4, look, it's going to prevent me from closing it. So it is 1 1/4, but it doesn't leave room for those little folds. So let's go 1 1/8. All right, now let's try 1 1/8. Put that in there. Look at that, like a glove. See, I should have trusted her measurements, never my own. All right, so if I close this up, then you can see that it is perfect. And I still feel like this might be a little tall, even though I measured it at 8 inches and I know that it is 8 inches. Why do I feel like we're a little bit tall? Maybe it's just because it's so stark, because it's darker than. No, I think I need to trim off just a tad. We're going to trim off just a tiny bit, just a tad. All right, so now that I've got this cut down to size, that is perfect. I am not going to attach this now. This is actually what I'm going to use to attach my signatures to, and then I will glue it down here, and that way it'll create the hidden spine. So it'll be attached to this and then attach the book, and I'm not actually sewing through. the actual foils here. So that is it on the cover for now. I'm going to do a part 2 where we'll actually go ahead and work in the signatures and then attach the hidden spine. So let me know what you think if you have any questions, and be sure to go check out Lily's tutorial on this. I did find it very helpful, and I'm actually definitely going over and purchasing some of that book tape so that I can use her exact method on this particular book because of the compromise score right here. I feel like the book tape over this would really help to secure that a lot better. But anyhow, if you have any questions, please put them down in the comments, and be sure to check out Lily's channel. Until next time, bye.